Not AS, your AST. That is not a standardized test. How was
Passed.
your SAT yesterday?
Yeah, it was it was something.
It was something.
I
Congratulations.
think I think the only like iffy part was my reading section. I think the rest of it was okay, but
I feel like that's
never fun.
I feel like that's every like engineering major's like issue is English.
It's like English section of the. Mm. There was a
My
point when that was my strongest section. I don't know what I was doing.
I know,
Well,
me
how about?
too.
But it's not anymore.
It's weird. It's just my was it my AP physics instructor was like, it's really weird because engineers like are some of the most socially awkward people ever, but we're the people that needs to communicate the most.
Exactly. It's like okay,
For real.
that's. Mm.
Speaking of communication, this is episode 5 of the Everyday Engineers podcast, and we're back to Space Week again. I'm one of your hosts, Darick Pham, the creator of Simplified Space.
I am the other host, Siven Panda, creator of 22 Labs.
User, and this week, headline SLS and Artemis updates just like a month ago, except this time, we're still not launching until like November. Yeah. So after that tank test, not after that, after last week, I am on a different perception of time. Last week we didn't even do anything for this podcast. We were just sitting here and like, I wish Artemis launches soon, and then Hurricane Ian just rolls through.
Said no, just kidding.
Success, failure, hurricane.
Indeed.
But about a week or two after, no, it was a week. I think it was a week after Space week number something. So it was episode 3 aired. We the SLS had its cryogenic tank test. They loaded hydrogen into the vehicle to test leaks and everything. And then guess what? They found a leak.
Wow.
Wow. But it was the same leak they found before. So that's a good sign. They found the problem they found before. They were able to mitigate it, fix the issue. And you know what the issue was?
What was it?
It was an indentation. It was just barely under 0.1 of an inch in one of the seals on the QD.
Unfun. Unfun. That's annoying.
This is like less than 0.1 of an inch, and then it's like hydrogen go leak.
Said I'm gonna go bye bye.
For real. Well, I mean, I feel like it might have been caused by like foreign object debris, but like, I'm trying to think what in the world could have hit that and caused such a small, like, indentation.
Yeah. Yeah, it is it. Yeah.
Pebble, maybe? I don't know. I would
Could
think
be.
like they would clear the entire area around Launch Complex 39B of like pebbles. I mean, grass obviously can't do that.
Mm-hmm. Well, it could if you're going fast enough, but I don't think it's going that
I
fast.
don't think Hurricane Ian was even considered a threat or even considered a hurricane around this time.
Yeah.
I could be wrong, but I don't know.
I don't
Hurricane
think.
Ian
No, it
has just
was. I'm
sparked
pretty
enough
sure it was.
headlines, so.
I think it was just a tropical storm at that point.
And then it's like, oh, let's go Hurricane 4 mode.
Wee.
The
You said
pictures
you
from the
wanted to
ISS of
launch.
Hurricane Ian are just like insane. So, anyways, Hurricane Ian came after that tank test. But tank
Sadness.
test went really well. All objectives were met according to NASA officials, which I believe. I mean, if they say they meet the things, then they meet the things, unlike last time, which they did not meet the things, and then we came to now.
Exactly.
So after
So
the
we're
objectives, yeah, sorry, what were you saying?
yeah. So we're kind of on a path to launch someday.
Yeah, it was supposed to be no earlier than September 27th. Obviously, this is now October 2nd at the time we're recording this, so.
Hmm.
Hmm. But,
I think we have a little bit of a spinny boy causing a
a
problem here.
spinny boy!
Who will win? the SLS or a spinny boy?
Spinny boy, even though it only has one S. But after that tank test, September 27th was the earliest possible date. And then Hurricane Ian decided to become a thing. So then everyone was like, oh, what's going to happen? And NASA was just really like sticking it out with Hurricane Ian because they were like, what should we do? So I remember texting you about this. They're like, oh, we're going to have a press conference today to discuss if we're going to roll SLS back to the VAB to protect from Hurricane Ian. I'm like, okay. And then, what was it called? Words are escaping my mind. And then they posted and they said, yeah, that press conference we're supposed to do today, we're moving that to tomorrow because we just feel like it.
Right.
So I was kind of confused. They said it was to monitor data more, which I mean, yeah, I understand because like if they rolling back takes a while, but like, you know, I feel like they should have rolled back earlier. But whatever. But obviously they did roll back. SLS is safe. Hurricane Ian is no longer in Cape Canaveral. We are thriving.
Yep.
And we won't launch till November! Yeah, that's how things roll. There was actually a fire in the VAB right like around the time the SLS rolled back. So,
Ooh.
yeah, they actually evacuated the entire VAB, and then yeah, officials say no injuries were sustained and no safety concerns at all were like even noticeable for the SLS. Not saying like it was damaged, but like the fire theoretically wasn't near the SLS.
That's good.
That is very good. I would really hope, like that was okay.
Yeah. Speaking of hoping that things are okay, I hope that if you're in Florida, I hope that things are going better than better than it could be.
We wish you a quick and fast recovery, just as
Yeah.
SpaceX would wish for anything.
Yeah. We hope that you guys, hope that things aren't going too terribly. I know that it's not ideal, so I can't really wish it's going ideal, but I wish that it's not. I wish it's not like. I wish y'all that just some luck. I guess it's the best thing I could say.
Yeah, I think what really killed what killed SLS was like I have a NASA hat I bought from the Stafford Air and Space Museum. So I was like, oh, for the day of the tank test, I should definitely wear my hat because like that's gonna help. I forgot to wear my hat because I was running behind that morning. So now I'm like, I wonder if I wore my hat, some things would be different now.
Ian would stay in its place.
Adele is about to like call me and say, you didn't wear your hat, that's your fault. We SLS didn't launch. Not hitting on Adele.
You
She
show
was a
that
great
NASA
guest.
pride. Otherwise, things will happen, and it won't be that good.
Yeah. Artemis needs to move. It's just really interesting to me, like in the event something happens with like the current SLS where it's like out of certification or whatever, like what are they gonna do? Because the next core stage and all the hardware for Artemis 2 is technically for Artemis 2. So I don't wonder if they can even like repurpose it for Artemis 1 or if it's just like, well, we just stuck now. We just got to figure out something.
Yeah.
I promise I am living. Every week. Every week.
It's fall time. You know what that means? Misery.
Well, I love fall. Especially in Oklahoma. I mean, fall and spring. Well, fall is my favorite season. Then winter. Then summer. Then spring.
Everyone hates spring.
Allergies, man. Allergies suck.
Exactly.
Also sucks
It's
when you go
so
to like
unbearable.
you spend half your day at like a career tech center doing engineering classes and it's just smack dab in the middle of nowhere, so yeah, fun. Allergies.
Many
allergies. How bad are the allergies up there in Edmond?
It depends on where you are, basically.
Oh.
If you're like in the wrong place at the wrong time, you go you go outside for like 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and then you just wait a little bit. You come back out, and then you just can't see.
Oh.
It's just
local hurricane
also,
weather spotted in Oklahoma. Man can't see.
I can't see. My eyes are so itchy all the time. I
I
can't
feel
see
that.
anything anymore.
My allergies are just annoying. It just sucks.
Springtime comes, I can't see, I can't breathe. I can't. Nothing works.
Can't see or can't breathe? Stay inside and listen to your favorite podcast, The Everyday Engineers.
Oh,
That'd
but
be a
I'm not
really good
safe.
ad campaign.
You can't be home. You can't even be safe at home.
The vents, everything's coming into your house now.
Events. This
All the vents.
is why I like winter.
Anyways, Starship. I
Yes.
every time I talk about Starship, the outline always extends to like a whole page, and it did this time. I just got cut off because I split it into 2 pages, so I didn't like feel overwhelmed. Oh my god, Starship has so much. I don't know. I don't
Anyway,
even know what. I don't even know where to begin. Like, there's just so much that happened.
I mean, it's Starship.
It is Starship.
The I mean, outside of SLS, it's Starship
Yeah.
and SLS, two biggest rockets of our time.
Yes, indeed. And rockets are hard, so they take a while. So just because SpaceX hasn't done a lot of things with Starship, like in terms of a launch, it doesn't mean that they aren't progressing because you want to learn from failure, but you just don't necessarily want that failure to be in the air. You want it to be on the ground as much as you can.
Yeah.
But failure in
Also,
the air is okay, said SN11. Just go boom.
anyways, like Starship is, comparatively, I'm pretty sure it's a little bit newer than Artemis is.
Like in
Or
terms of
not
pace.
SLS. Just in terms of like conceptualization and like putting it through the paces, I think Starship's a little bit newer.
Eh, that's debatable. Yeah, well, I feel like a lot of people will debate you over that, but I won't.
Yeah.
Starship is
Yeah, I
Starship.
could be wrong. I think I started hearing about Starship a little bit after SLS, but it might be that Starship had
Yeah, so
earlier.
this
But
man has
either
clearly a
way,
bias, even though I myself started with SLS. It's weird.
yeah.
Anyways, I guess we can start with the Macy's old Macy's gun range that SpaceX bought. They bought it a while ago, and they're planning to basically use it as a Raptor testing facility closer to Starbase because it's only like a few miles down the road past the production site. So what they could do is they could like let's say they test fire something on a ship or a booster, and then it's like oh it doesn't look good or it's a new like type of test, so they want to bring the Raptor back to inspect it. They can then bring it over there, test fire it, get information, and then either ship it back to like McGregor or just bring it back to pad.
Mm.
But they brought 2 horizontal tanks over to the old gun range. So I don't even know what week to tell you. I had a stroke. What week to tell you because like so much stuff happened, and I tried to keep as much documentation as I can. But Marcus House is the only thing keeping me alive. Thank
What
you,
a guy.
Marcus House, for your Saturday uploads of Space Week stuff so I could sit down and actually comprehend the multitude of stuff that just happens.
Same with Tech Linked for me.
I haven't watched a
And
Tech
Wayne
Linked
Show, but
episode in
Wayne
so
Show
long.
takes so long. Wayne Show takes so long.
But Wayne Show is
Yes.
fun.
It's so fun.
You get to hear Linus
Weekly,
like bleep in real time, and people are like,
and
"He's
weekly
not.
Linus
He's
rage.
lying. He is not doing that. No, he is bleeping in real time." We should have that. I forgot what it's called, but we should have that.
The bleeper.
Yes. Anyways, I think the biggest thing coming out of just Starship this whole month is really just booster and ship updates. It's a big surprise.
Yeah.
Booster 7
I'm
has
so
been a very
surprised.
active child. Its first test in a month since the last space week. Okay, I'm gonna try to say this. Booster 7 conducted a staggered startup long duration multiple engine spin prime test. I said it. Let's go.
Staggered startup long duration. That's a
Staggered.
lot. Staggered startup. Long duration. Multiple engines spin prime test.
Staggered startup, long duration, multiple engine spin prime test. Staggered startup, long duration, multiple engine spin prime test.
It.
It's just yeah.
So if you have a baby who wants to go to sleep, tell them that they'll probably lose interest immediately. But
What is it? I was on
we, as
Instagram and I found this like reel that says like a baby's first mechanical engineering book or whatever. I shared it with you. Remember?
yeah,
So you're a baby's first taste of Starship. Booster 7
yes.
conducted a staggered startup, long duration, multiple engine spin prime test. Did you end up showing that to your your physics instructor or whatever?
I need to do that.
You need to do that. I thought you did. You already did that.
She
Shame.
has grandkids. I need to show her. I need to show her.
Your grandpa is such a great person. Look what he does. Anyways, that was September 8th. And that was just, obviously you're not, they can't test all, like, spin primes at the same time on all 33 engines because the last time that happened, it went boom. So, let's just not do that. So, they did staggered, so that means, like, one at a time, and it's a pretty good test. I think around 7 to 10 fired up. But, yeah, obviously no ignition.
Good.
What did have an ignition, though? Ship 24. That same day, hours after Booster 7. All the engines fired, the 3 Raptor 2 sea level engines and the 3 Raptor vacuum engines. And guess what?
What?
That was such a long pause.
I thought you'd keep going, and I'm like, wait a minute.
It was so lit that it started a grass fire.
That's pretty lit.
That is lit. Oh my gosh. I remember waking up, seeing that, I'm like, wow. Wow. I think that's like the most interesting thing I've heard of in like forever.
Hey, that does speak to the amount of power this thing has.
Yeah. So it spread for like quite literally hours because obviously you can't go up and like put out the fire right when like the ship is still pressurized because that in itself is a bigger fire hazard than the grass fire. So it just spread for hours, and then towards the later evening, the fire department would finally go out there and started doing a burn control and just died out.
Good.
Yes, it is good.
We're moving.
SpaceX.
We're doing things.
What is it? I remember someone asked during a NASA spaceflight stream, I think, and it was like, why don't they remove the foliage around like ship or booster whenever they like test fire it? Well, some people looked at some documents and we learned that SpaceX isn't allowed to remove quite all the foliage around that area. They're allowed to remove a lot of it, but not all of it. And obviously, fire doesn't mix well with foliage.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah, Raptors don't mix with foliage.
Yeah.
Raptors also apparently don't mix well with hydrogen either because we learned that, I actually never knew this. Raptor initially started as a hydrogen-powered engine, and then it switched over to methane.
Oh.
It's very interesting to me. I mean, hydrogen, like, the best fuel, theoretically.
Yeah.
But, like, I mean, yeah, now that I read more into it, the delta V difference is minimal between hydrogen and methane. Obviously, depending on the mission, don't, like, assume it's better in all situations. But I think, really, what's the best point in just moving over to methane is, one, if you're going to Mars, that's really good, because now you can make methane on Mars. But the thing is, I think, yeah, methane has a better efficiency and ease of operation ratio compared to like hydrogen. So hydrogen will definitely have the better efficiency and just overall be better because it's just so dense. But then its operation is just so hard to deal with, like Shuttle and Saturn V and SLS. But you take methane, tanks are smaller, requires less insulation. Methane's cool.
H2 has some ways to go before we master it.
H2 has a lot of ways to go, especially in cars.
Very. Very much in cars.
I remember when that was a thing. Like people were like, "Let's stop doing electric cars. It hurts the environment. Let's do hydrogen." And I'm just sitting here like, that is probably like the dumbest thing I've heard all year. Circa
I
2018.
actually, I think H2 engines are the way to go in terms of cars, but like we're not close.
We're nowhere close for hydrogen, and electric is also like, if we did it right now, our power grid would be bust, like
Right.
beyond bust.
So we have zero good options.
Yes.
Ding.
Meanwhile, oil continues to progressively flow into the country. Not downplaying oil. We need oil. It's just that, you know, renewable energy should be the future.
Yep.
But for right now, we have to stick with oil. And a tank farm at Launch Complex 39A. And it's progressing very rapidly.
Zoom zoom.
Zoom zoom. In fact, it's parking. It is not parking. The tank farm cannot like go up and move itself.
That would be nice.
The tanks at the, oh yeah, that would be nice. Imagine just like having a tank from the manufacturer just shipped like the entire thing, plumbing and everything to the launch site, and like, that's it. You
No,
just
it'd
hook
be
up one
cool.
pipe. You're done.
You have your first stage, super small. You get up to like a certain altitude, like there's I don't know. Where the first stage usually ends, just like there, have a refueling station. Then you can go real far.
I thought
You
you
can
were
go
about to propose
zoom.
like a long march, like Amazon delivery style. I'm like,
Long march. We will deliver your fuel plus or minus 10 miles.
I think the difference is a lot more than 10. I think 50 is a good one.
Plus or minus 50 miles. And it might catch your entire rocket on fire. Hey,
Oh my
it's
god. That's man, that feels so long ago since we did the first space week and like made that joke.
just roasted. Long march the entire time.
Yeah, we basically did just roast Long March the entire time. It was funny though. I liked it.
It was very funny.
Yes. You know what's also funny? Those tanks I was talking to you about at Launch Complex 39A, there are
Mhm.
some that haven't been installed yet, so they're in the
Oh,
staging area, and and then the workers are like, let's park our cars underneath the tanks. The shade.
big brain.
I don't
Galaxy
know if
brain
these
is not
have
even
preload. These most likely, I'm pretty sure they don't have any propellant in them, obviously.
yeah.
But I just find it funny.
So funny if they were just there like, I could park under just in the sun, come back to a hot car, or I could park under the explosive. I'll park under your explosive.
Engineers are like so fun, are like so smart, and then we also have like some of the worst common sense in the world, and it's funny.
I know the guy who engineered that. I trust him.
Just trust me, you know, like me and him, we're on a talk every night basis.
Yeah. If their thing breaks and my car is caught on fire, I could talk to him. Give him a firm talking. If you were the one
Anyways,
who designed it and you're the one parking underneath it, then you must have like full trust.
we're on a talk every night basis, but here's the thing: that tank collapses on my car, that's your tank on my car.
We're going to a talk every other night basis.
Demoted
If that
talk
breaks,
every night
every
basis,
other night.
every other night.
Punishment.
Oh, that's great. Anyways, back to Launch. I cannot speak for the love of God.
Lunch.
Lunch Complex 39A. No, not Lunch. Launch Complex 39A. The orbital launch tower there
Dude.
for the next Starship
That would
over
be-
there at Cape is now fully stacked. We're ready to go, pending obviously all the systems that connect to it.
Oh,
But it is now
Well-
at its full height.
it's a step.
It is
And
a step.
you know what I just thought of while we were doing that bit?
What?
The perfect name for like a cafeteria at like SpaceX or something is Lunch Cup.
Yeah. Welcome to
Lunch.
Lunch Complex 39A. If you look outside to this massive window, you will see a Falcon 9 on the pad gearing up to launch the next Starlink mission. And to its right, a giant crane in a tower, because we still haven't attached the starships, the chopsticks to it. I really hope they don't use starships to stack starships. Oh my mouth amazes me sometimes. Imagine that. This isn't like adopting like a Long March style delivery system. Starship to starship, except I'm delivering the starship on Starship.
Yeet.
Yeet. Speaking of transferring starships, Elon stated that around Q2 of next year, vehicles could be transferred from Starbase over to the port of Brownsville and over to the Cape.
Interesting.
But whether this is horizontally, which makes the most sense because obviously no structural like issues will be had whenever you're doing this horizontally. But then is this vertically? Because like that would be very interesting if they can transport it vertically, which is very hard.
Going under a bridge would be an event.
For real. Imagine going to like London with that thing. Just
Yeah. It's like, oh. That would be. Oof. I would not want to be the person planning that trip.
Anyways, back to Booster 7 again. Surprise. But that's 33 engines, right?
Yeah.
Guess what? We had the biggest 33 engine event on September 14th. We had all 33 engines have a stagger spin prime test.
Oh,
And it didn't blow up.
let's go.
Oh my god, your audio was so loud you cut out. But yes,
Anything for
33 engine stagger spin prime test. It appeared to be 33. I don't know if it's confirmed or not. I'm pretty sure no one else has confirmed this either, but it appeared to be 33. And then SpaceX was like, let's do a 7-engine spin prime test too, the next day. So Booster 7 has been a very active child.
Very.
And then guess what? Booster 7 also did almost the exact same spin prime. Again. And then they did a 7-engine static fire. So.
They're on a roll now.
They are on a roll. So much of a roll that Booster 7 was rolled back to the to the production site, and the plan is basically to have Booster 7 go under not significant, but just some on-the-fly design changes, and then have Booster 8 roll to the pad and start its testing campaign. So it's interesting because yeah, Booster 7 its upgrades are basically just on the fly. Really, the next major upgrade milestone will be Booster 9.
Interesting.
So, more designs. Whereas fire suppression, it what was it? Because of the whole thing that happened with Booster 7 going boom with all 33 engines attempting to spin up at the same time. Yeah, they added a fire suppression system, and it's very cool. Very misty, a lot of rainbows. Very cool.
Imagination.
Imagine with me that the water used on the orbital launch mount for the fire suppression system appeared to be mixed with gaseous nitrogen, which it appears that it was. I don't know the properties of what like gaseous nitrogen would do to water, but maybe increase pressure. I don't know.
I know that nitrogen's most of the atmosphere.
Yeah, nitrogen is also a part of water. I'm pretty sure.
I'm pretty sure they use it in. No, not in. I don't think it's in water, but I'm pretty sure it is
water.
In some fire extinguishers.
Interesting. I don't know why I said nitrogen was part of water. In my head, I processed H2O, 2 hydrogen, 1 oxygen, and my brain was like
they
nitrogen.
They use nitrogen in fire extinguishers.
Interesting. What does it do? What are the properties of nitrogen?
Nitrogen operates as a fire suppressant by reducing the oxygen content within a room. At which point the fire. Okay, so it's just something other than oxygen.
Yeah,
basically.
That makes sense. I mean,
and I think nitrogen's probably good I'm not reading off the internet, so take it with a grain of salt. But nitrogen's probably good because it's so much of the atmosphere that it doesn't just like float immediately away or just sink immediately to the bottom. It just kind of sticks wherever you put it.
Yeah. And then nitrogen. Nitrogen's cool.
Yes, and mmm.
Nitrogen. What does it? What you know? What isn't as nitrogen?
What?
Raptors burning up themselves. That's what.
No.
Testing specifically, and McGregor. A lot of rowdy raptors. So we had a raptor undergo rapid relight testing at at McGregor, and it had in between its first ignition and its second ignition was about 8.21 seconds. So not bad.
Yeah.
And then we also have a new variant of Raptor, Raptor 2 still. It's just this time that the shroud, where all the piping and plumbing is, they put a blast shield around it, which is, yeah, it's kind of what it is. It's going to be used to protect the Raptors from shrapnel. Let's say if another Raptor fails. Looked good. It went up for a bit, and then a few seconds later, flame went green, very SN8 style, and then it go out. So, and then it was lowered. So the green, whenever you see a flame, is just whenever oxygen is mixed with a bunch of metals, and copper burns green. So
that's not good.
Yeah.
That's
Same thing.
not good.
The same thing actually happened to SN8 during its landing. Like SN8 was like insane. It was so close to landing, and then it did it, but it was
Ugh. But yeah, the flame going colors, it's really interesting actually. So that's why whenever you see methane burning, it's blue. Yes. Different things burn different colors. So.
Yes, sir.
Very fun things to look
I
at.
think they'll. Let me fact check myself on this before I say this out loud. I want to make sure.
You know something burns purple.
Oh God, I'm concerned. Oh yeah, okay, I am right. You know what also burns?
What?
Delta 4 Heavy with its hydrogen at launch. Oh my God, that scared me. I just heard a and then like you just cut. I'm like, oh my God.
Oh, my XPS is not having a good day with me laughing.
Oh, it's not.
Also, speaking of which, potassium is what burns purple.
Interesting. SpaceX, get on it. Potassium fuel engine, get on it.
This looks cool. Look it up. This is cool.
Potassium. I love how we just strayed away from Delta 4 Heavy and we're just talking about potassium now. Potassium burning. Oh wow, that is purple.
Very.
Oh, you know that would look really cool. You know? Let's start researching how we can make a potassium flavored.
Potassium fire.
Potassium fueled, not flavored rocket engine. Pretty sure I would probably will find some sort of mention of potassium in my propellant book. It'd be interesting, like
it's
a
metal,
college
though,
project. Interesting. Anyways, Delta 4 Heavy, which is the normal kind of fire. The last launch from the west coast of the Delta 4 Heavy, it was a mission. It was for the National Reconnaissance Office, NRL 91, on September 24th. The last Delta 4 Heavy launched from the west coast. A moment of silence, please.
So sad.
Anyways. That was a very small anyways. I am deeply
sad. That was
saddened.
a very, very sad anyways.
Yeah. Delta 4 Heavy will always have a special place in my heart. Probably one of my favorite rockets of all time. It's just so cool.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure Delta 4 Heavy is what took Curiosity and Perseverance up.
It did not take Perseverance up.
It didn't? Okay.
That was the Atlas that took both of those up.
That was Atlas. You're right. You're right.
I was like...
You're right.
You're a fake fan. You're a fake Delta 4 Heavy fan. Get out of here.
It's been a minute.
See, yes, it has been.
Delta
4 Heavy did not do the Mars rovers. Instead, it did Orion launch escape testing. and the Parker Solar Probe.
Oh,
So, yes, it started with a P, just not Perseverance.
well,
Yes.
that was an oopsie.
Yeah. I mean, it's the last launch out of the West Coast, so you'll never be able to see such a thing ever again from such an angle. It's just, it's going to be weird
Hmm.
seeing Vulcan launch, because Vulcan is going to replace Delta 4 Heavy and the Atlas. No, not Delta 4 Heavy, just the whole Delta 4 and the Atlas 5 lineup right now. So it is reusable. It's a very interesting concept of being reusable, because what they're trying to do is basically jettison the engines and have a heat shield on the engines and just like have them burn up and then recover them.
Interesting.
So yeah. Anyways, I mean, as much as people will hate on Delta 4 Heavy, it is still cool. I mean, it was the king in heavy launch until Falcon Heavy came around. And to this
Yeah.
day, it is still second only to Falcon Heavy in payload capacity. So, it is still very cool, and it's very sad to see it go from the West Coast. And we only
Very.
have two more missions left out of the Delta 4 Heavy out of its existing contracts. One in 2023, I believe, and one in 2024. And then after that, no more.
Bit sad.
Very big sad. Be very, very sad day when we see the
The
last.
end of a legend.
The end, yes, the end with a legend. Too bad Blue Origin can't say the same thing. Out with the old and in with the new, am I right? Except the new this time is an exploded booster, and the old is a capsule that's now recovered with no booster. So
They're trying their best.
they are. New Shepard 23, the only New Shepard mission I have missed in recent times because I was at school in class. But of course, the one time I, don't watch it, something interesting happens. Which obviously is a mission failure. It's not like good, but like still it's cool. It's still interesting. I just remember sitting in class and I look on my watch. I'm like, wait, what does that say? Blue Origin failure. I'm like, wait, what happened? I'm so concerned. I was like, what happened? So, what happened was basically, a failure. No, no. Wow, of course it's a failure. I don't know where I was going with that. Let's rewind. Let's start at the beginning. On September 12th, New Shepard 23 launched, and it was an uncrewed dedicated payload flight. So basically, just payload and like experiments inside the capsule. They bring it up, test it in microgravity, bring it back down. But at around T plus 1 minute and 5 seconds, the capsule used its abort motor to power away from the New Shepard, not the New Shepard, from the booster. And that was when the main engine on the booster experienced a failure shortly around max Q. It could be like a potential propellant mixture. Maybe it ran fuel rich, oxygen rich. I forgot the differences in like the flame for both. Or straight up just could have been an engine issue. But just what really surprises me is that they didn't detect any issue beforehand leading up to launch.
That's concerning.
It is. I mean, it's happened before. Like, many agencies have ran into the same problem. But it still is concerning when you have such a rigorous process and, something happen like that. Anyways, that booster, that I was talking about earlier, hit the ground, fully intact. So,
Hey, that's good.
if you count a giant hole in the middle of the Texas desert, good. Yeah, why not? Overall, the mission was a really good demonstration of the launch escape system. Obviously, no humans were on board, but it's good to see that it was safe. It's just that the capsule looked like it was rolling a little crazy, rolling parts of it. I'm like, huh. And if I went back and looked at Crew Dragon because it's another crewed vehicle with a similar kind of escape method, and it doesn't even Crew Dragon stays pretty much mostly stable, maybe a few minor rotations here and there, but pretty minor. And it doesn't even roll much until it pitches over and the trunk is jettisoned. So, I don't know. I wonder. Maybe it's the difference between using like a liquid hypergolic. Do they use a hypergolic on Crew Dragon?
No idea.
Crew Dragon use a hypergolic LES. I really wonder because hypergolics do go pretty boom. It is hypergolic.
Ah.
So just keep in mind if that goes boom, it goes very boom, very fast. So
Yeah. Would not want to be there.
yeah, Proton already demonstrated how boom and how fast it can go. Anyways, but yeah, it's kind of weird. I really hope they look into that because good demonstration. But if I were in that capsule, which I may be one day, it is part of my bucket list to either go up to space in Virgin Galactic or a New Shepard one day. But it concerns me that if something happens and I start rolling over, I think that I may throw up and I will not feel okay if my pinnacle of my a bucket list is me throwing up.
It's like going, whoa!
Look at this view.
Starts dying.
Yeah, I'll straight up just die again. Anyways, New Shepard is now obviously grounded by the FAA. They're still pending an official investigation, so best of luck to you, Blue. Hopefully you guys can find the issue as soon as possible and you get back to flying.
Yep.
But into more positive news, the smallsat launch service provider market has seen a lot of strides in the past month.
Woo!
Relativity did a bunch of stuff. I don't have it in here because I forgot to add it, but they had a successful hot fire again, and they moved back into their little, I guess you can call it VAB, but it's not really VAB. They're just a hangar, I guess, after Hurricane Ian, was gonna hit. But ABL, another small sat provider, they launch out of They launch out of Kodiak, Alaska, which is the same place that Astra launches out of. They performed a static fire on their rocket called RS-1 in early July. It was successful, and they're still pending a launch at this time. It's the boost. The overall rocket itself stands about 27 meters tall, and it can carry about 1,300 kilograms to low Earth orbit, which is similar to Terran 1, allegedly, which is Relativity's little rocket thing. And it's smaller by, I think, about 8 meters. So, I don't know. It's interesting. They are pretty secure, though. They have over 45 missions, not 45, over 55 missions planned, and they have, this is well into the future. And I didn't know this. A key customer of theirs, Lockheed Martin.
That's interesting.
That is interesting. Lockheed Martin is also one of the partners for the United Launch Alliance. Rest in peace.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, West Coast Delta IV Heavy.
That's a little funny.
Yes.
It's like, we half own a rocket business.
I guess so. Anyways, Firefly. A year ago, I was sitting in this very chair, watching it launch for the first time, being very happy, and then it blew up, and I'm like, oh. I'm like, still, it was really good for its first attempt. Yeah. And then they tried to do it again, and then it didn't launch.
Yeah.
Because there was a sudden drop in helium pressure, and they didn't want to try to deal with that problem because it would be very risky. And then they did it for the second time. And then the weather was like, no weather. And then they finally launched yesterday. But I didn't watch it live because I accidentally fell asleep during the launch.
Wait, this was 2 a.m., wasn't it?
Yes, this is the one at 2 a.m. that I set an alarm for, woke up for, and then it just fell asleep.
I had to go to sleep because I needed to watch the SAT. Yeah. Not watch, I needed to do the SAT. And I'm kind of mad. Not gonna lie.
I was upset because I had this was the same thing that happened to me for James Webb. I woke up, was so pumped watching it, and then I just fell asleep literally minutes before they launched.
Oh, that's so bad.
So yeah. I missed JWST in real time, and I missed Firefly successfully completing orbit for their second attempt live. I'm very bummed. Very, very bummed. But they had their stream was obviously a little spotty. They have a little difficulty here and then, so we didn't get like the first few seconds of launch. But after they came, after a couple days, well, not a couple days, straight up today, after they processed some of the footage, they were able to put it out, and they had
Hey, at
some
least
gorgeous photos and video of the whole thing.
at least it wasn't in 720p.
Yeah, I agree. Anyways, welcome Firefly Aerospace. I don't know. Are they called Firefly Aerospace? I want to make sure I'm getting
I
this
think
right.
so. Yeah,
Fire-
Firefly Aerospace.
Welcome Firefly Aerospace, the newest member of the Orbital Club. Whoa! And
Firefly W's.
yes, sir.
So cool.
Rocket Lab also has a lot of W's. Been
Dude,
very, very active in the past month. They had a launch on September 15th called The Owl Spreads Its Wings. And I just want to stop and just like say thank you, Rocket Lab, for making like such amazing names.
I know. It's so cool.
Pixar didn't happen. I'm pretty sure one of them were like Return the Sender. The first reusable mission was straight up called Return the Sender, and I'm like, that's amazing. It was for Inspective, and they were launching their Strix satellites, and they're basically using synthetic aperture radar on those. But this launch had a lot of milestones, actually. This was the 30th Electron launch, the 300th Rutherford engine to go to space, and the 150th satellite to be delivered to orbit by Rocket Lab. So,
W.
W.
That is good.
Also, W, MIT, and Rocket Lab, they are now partnering on their first private mission to Venus.
That's cool.
That is cool.
That is very cool.
Maybe if I go to MIT, we can get things working.
Cool things happen at MIT.
Cool things do happen. Unfortunately, I won't probably be working on it because this one is potentially launching in May of 2023. Sad.
I won't even be at wherever I end up going at that time.
Yeah. But that's a potential. Maybe things change. Oh my gosh, I just got a notification. Oh, okay. It's just telling me that Starlink launches tomorrow in 24 hours.
That's some timing.
That is in 24 hours. We should watch together.
Yeah. If I'm not busy, I will totally do that.
We'll see. It's at 6:56. But basically, the mission to Venus is going to have a small probe. It's still currently under development, and it's going to use ultraviolet lasers to essentially just crash through the atmosphere and search for organic particles. So
I assume since Venus, the idea is that it just like lands and it eventually dies like really, really quickly.
yeah, Venus is Venus. Venus is cool because it decides to be an opposite
No,
point
it's
and
not.
go
Well, it's very,
retrograde.
very, very hot.
It also gets very toxic and very acidic.
Yeah, but it's not cool. It is very hot.
Excuse me.
It is very hot.
It is very hot. Very, very hot.
Extremely hot,
It's extremely hot.
as the Russians have discovered.
Yes. But not as hot as a lava march. By far.
How many hot?
Uh,
Your Amazon delivery will be here in 0.2 seconds. Speaking of here is not. That was a bad segue.
Here is not. I'm like, here is definitely not.
Here's something that is not wanted. Rotational spin on Capstone.
Oh gosh, don't me. Capstone was also launched by Rocket Lab and was basically technically the first official launch of the Artemis. Not like technically like big major steps for Artemis because it's going to an orbit around the moon that's going to test the orbit for Gateway and just plan a lot of stuff out. It's still on the way to the moon, and then it's just like let's go spin. I'm a spinny boy. Normally, if you go into a spin, the onboard reaction wheels, which is basically just wheels that spin, congratulations, they spin. They basically just say no. If you spin right, If you spin right, I spin left to counteract your right. Well, too bad because this time it spun right so much that left couldn't do anything about it.
Oh, oof.
And NASA, it took them around 24 hours to recover any telemetry to even know what was going on.
Ooh.
So 24 hours after it started, NASA received telemetry about it. And during those 24 hours, Capstone was still losing power and was undergoing periodic resets to the system, like on its own.
Ooh, that's not good.
As of right now, it is partially stabilized, and thank you, NASA, for this amazing terminology. The next step is a detumble operation.
Things that sound really technical words.
Yeah. Basically, just stop it from spinning.
Spinning.
Rocket Lab also had their Investor Day and Neutron Development Day, and that basically was really just all about Neutron because we didn't really care much about investing because Rocket Lab is pretty secure in investing. But Neutron, they've announced that they have already started manufacturing hardware for Neutron, and they have now updated the design pretty good. Neutron now stands at 42.8 meters tall, with a 5-meter fairing diameter. With its payload is 15 tons expendable, and 8 tons when it returns to the pad. It can launch to low Earth orbit, medium Earth orbit, geostationary Earth orbit, maybe, I don't know, interplanetary trajectories. It has a reusable first stage and fairing, which we know that already, and it is powered by 9 Archimedes engines. They actually had an Archimedes engine at the at the update, so we were able to see it. Obviously, we can't show you because it's a podcast, but I can give you the numbers.
In your mind.
It runs methalox, a combination of methane and oxygen. Its minimum throttle is at 50%, and I don't know how to pronounce this. What is KLBF? Belief. What does it stand for?
Kilogram, pounds. I think there's some pounds in it.
Kilopound force. So it has 165 kilopounds of force at sea level, and its vacuum ISP is 329 seconds for the 9 9 first stage engines. The single vacuum variant on the second stage runs at the said minimum throttle with a 20 kilopound force in a vacuum and a vacuum ISP of 367 seconds. Two of the biggest changes are that it used to have a 4 fairing door to let go of the satellites and all of that basically, and satellites and the second stage, but basically now they switched to a 2 fairing door, and they used to have static legs. They are now switched to aerodynamic canards, similar to how Booster has it, and will basically have Starship kind of style landing legs, I guess. And then another thing they teased about during this whole thing, a render of a crew capsule they are thinking about doing. Thinking. It is not confirmed to be in development. They themselves have stated that we're thinking about it. We're looking into it. But they haven't confirmed that it's a path they'll take.
If it is a path that they end up taking, that's going to be really cool.
Yeah, it will. There's another crew vehicle I want to talk about later. But before we do that, let's do Falcon 9 and Starlink, because every week this one ends up being half as long as Starship. They can't make up its mind what to do more, Starship or Falcon 9.
Yeah, there's just so much going on.
Now, there are how many Starlink launches within the past month? 1, 2, 3. 5 Starlink launches in the past month, and one of them's tomorrow, and one of them is tomorrow as well. So, launch cadence, y'all. Launch cadence. Anyways, let's start with the first Starlink launch, Starlink 420 and Varuna TDM. It launched on September 4th, and it was technically Starlink's first ever rideshare, and it was basically for spaceflight and their Boeing Varuna TDM. Very cool. And this one has one of my favorite boosters because... Do you know why? I'm pretty sure I told you at some point.
Yeah, we were talking about this at the podcast before, but if you're a new listener, this one's fun because it was a converted Falcon Heaviside booster.
Yes, sir. And it's now running operationally as a Falcon 9 core booster, thus making it one of my favorite boosters in the Falcon 9 fleet.
That's just so cool.
I know. It is so cool. To me, in my mind, my feeble mind is thinking, remove nose cone, inner stage, boom. But I know it's not that easy, and that's why I'm just really it's so cool to me.
It's such a complicated process, and they just did it. That's so cool.
I know. And then, next launch was September 10th, Starlink 4.2 and Blue Walker 3, another, rideshare. Except this time, it was a very big record breaker because the booster flying was the flight leader, B1058, which now makes it the new flight leader at a record-breaking 14 flights.
Whoa.
I am concerned how high that number is going to be. Not concerned like in a bad way, concerned like I didn't think it'd be this high.
It's impressive.
User. Second stage also had a record. It relit its engines. It has one engine. It relit its engine, a record-breaking 5 times. 5 times it relit. So, it's a very, very big milestone of a launch. Starlink 4.2 and Blue Walker 3. Congratulations, SpaceX. And then Starlink 434, apparently the only Starlink mission I have in here that hasn't launched. Well, that has launched. I just didn't put a date in because I guess I forgot to. I don't know. It was all I put down was it was a Starlink launch with laser communication capabilities. And, I remember this one now. This was the one that was delayed multiple times because of weather. And I'm like, this better not be Scrubtober again. Very sad. Very, very sad. I think it was last year. Yeah, it was last year when Scrubtober was a thing. I was very sad. Did not like it. Nothing happened in October.
Scrubtober this year. We got a scrub year.
Well, not really. We got a Scrub Artemis.
Yeah. Scrubtimus.
Scrubtimus. Scrubtimus Prime.
Artemis.
So, no more Scrubtober this year. We're going to say it together. No more Scrubtober this year.
No, October, we got Scrub Artemis.
Yeah, that's arguably worse too, but
Shh.
And then Starlink 435, it does have a date. It was September 24th, and this was also a record breaker. Not for the booster or for the second stage, but for the pad, because the pad had a record turnaround time of 5 days and 23 hours. Previously, I believe this might have been 39A or Slick something, I don't remember. But its previous record time was about a week, so nice. And then we have Starlink 429 launching tomorrow at 6:56 p.m. Central Time.
Yep. Well, not for you listeners out there. Yeah. Probably was a little while ago. But hey, for us, tomorrow.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. There's people in the world that are going to be like, not tomorrow.
Yeah.
They are not tomorrow.
Yeah.
But yes, Starlink. Starlink also reached its own milestones, like I say every week. 3,200 plus satellites in orbit. Woo! And Starlink is now available on all 7 continents. Yes, you too, yeah. Antarctica.
Yes, sir. The penguins with their Wi-Fi.
For real? Yes, they also have a new premium service now in Starlink, and it's going to be providing higher performance satellite internet to residential users. It is at $2,500 upfront from the hardware, and it will be $110 a month. And for that price point, you get download speeds up to 350 megabytes. And this was limited only to businesses before, so nice. We're taking a good step. And for comparison, for the people running this Starlink right now, Download speeds were limited to around 200 megabytes a second.
That's good.
So,
Very good. Very good improvement there.
user Crew 5,
Forgot the
also
word.
another launch happening in the near future, October 5th. I believe that's actually the same day we're posting this. No, it is not. It is 2 days before we are posting this on October 7th. It is Crew 5, the next launch, 11 a.m. Central Time. We'll talk about a little bit more about that later. But coolest thing I think I've ever heard this week so far, NASA and SpaceX are now studying together for a potential mission to reboost the Hubble Space Telescope.
Whoa.
Very cool.
That's actually really cool.
That's cool. They're thinking about basically docking a Crew Dragon to there and using the Dragon itself to boost Hubble. So basically, if Shuttle became Crew Dragon. So
Whoa.
it's to be conducted under the Polaris program, which is the 3 launches, one with the first EVA, I forget what the second one was, and then the third one, which is the first crewed Starship launch. So this will either be Polaris, probably Polaris 2. It's not called Polaris 2. There's a better word for it, but we'll figure it out.
This is really, really cool.
It is. I'm very excited for this. I really hope it happens. I really hope that it is feasible because this would be cool.
This would be incredible for both SpaceX and NASA, I think.
Yeah. 1, it's free for NASA, basically. And 2, it's
Yeah.
Hubble. Hubble lives forever.
Hubble.
Anyways.
Isn't Hubble supposed to end in like the 2010s? Like,
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
But it's still living today, as it always will be.
What a W.
What a W. Anyways, I was talking about a crew capsule earlier from Rocket Lab, correct?
Yes.
Well, guess what? Ariane Space is also doing that, except they clearly haven't gotten the memo from SpaceX where you're not supposed to land the capsule using thrusters, because they're about to do that. They have a render out for a fully reusable crew capsule that's going to land using thrusters. And you know what it's called?
Oh.
The Smart Upper Stage for Innovative Exploration, also known as SUSI. Let that sink in. They just might have killed our other host.
What did they start with? What? Huh?
Yeah. Search it up. I haven't had time to search it up yet, but we need to look at this because this seems cool, but interestingly unsafe. I'm saying that as like Starship is supposed to do the exact same thing. I'm just like, well, Starship theoretically safer. Theoretically.
Here. Why does this look so... It looks kind of funny, but...
Bulbous.
it looks kind of funny.
Anyways, it's supposed to fly on the Ariane 6-4 rocket and maybe other vehicles too. But, I don't know how Ariane 6 is going to do because it's Ariane 6 that's technically being out-competed with everything. Yeah.
That's a little awkward.
Anyways, if I say Ariane 6-4, it will fly on Ariane 6-4, and instead of potentially other vehicles, most likely other vehicles too. But don't take my word for that. Anyways, time to go to the ISS. The new one and the old one, which is a made match in heaven. A made match in heaven? What?
That's not the...
That is not what I wrote. I wrote a match made in heaven, not a made match in heaven.
Yes.
That
makes sense.
Okay. Well, let's talk about it. Sierra Space, which is basically the company that's privatizing the ISS and building private segments to be used in the ISS to be detached later on, successfully conducted the ultimate burst pressure test on the 1 to 3 scale of a future habitat they're going to put in space. I don't know why they called it the ultimate burst pressure test.
The ultimate burst pressure test.
I don't know. It sounds better than Susie, though. Like, to be fair.
Yes. I don't know what they were thinking with that one.
I remember laughing whenever my brain, whenever I saw Susie, I was like, that's interesting. And my other half of
Like
my brain was like, that's so funny.
the thing with Susie is like you have those acronyms where you can tell they started with the acronym and then went backwards to like make the words to fit it.
Yeah.
And then you have like the words and they makes an acronym that makes no sense and it was clear that the words came first.
Yes,
Here,
sir.
I don't know what came first because neither of them make any sense.
Yeah. Well, it's Ariane 6. Well, no, it's Ariane Space, so they do things. They do
They
things
do
the ESA way.
they do things the French way.
Oh, and is that supposed to be like a
I'm
convicting thing
I'm
to the
sure
French, or like what are we trying to do here?
I'm sure if you look in a little nook or cranny, you'll find a croissant and a baguette.
Croissant. And here at Ariane Space headquarters, this is a terrible French accent, by the way. I'm terribly sorry to all the French
Headquarters.
people listening, if anybody from France is listening. But
I doubt it.
basically, well, if you look to your left, you will see a croissant preparing to launch on the first Ariane 6 flight. I'm pretty sure I went German halfway through that.
You went like German and then you went Russian.
And I'm supposed to be bilingual. Anyways, back to the ISS and aerospace. The test was really good. Basically, you just add a bunch of pressure to something, and then until it like explodes, and they're like, "Oh, the limit is this," and there was a bunch of weaknesses around here. So, pretty much the thing. And results from the tests show that they are basically the only active commercial space company to meet a safety threshold. Whatever that threshold is, I still don't know. But they met some sort of threshold, I guess.
Threshold.
Yes, sir. But that's basically the first of the two burst tests they have planned for 2022. And yeah. Moving on to the actual ISS, though. On September 21st, Soyuz MS-22 launched the ISS with cosmonauts Sergei Prokofiev something and Dmitry Petelin.
Yeah.
And also NASA astronaut Frank Rubio. And it is also Frank's first flight. So, very fun. Very exhilarating.
And Soyuz at that.
Yeah. Soyuz does its little fun thing where they do a rendezvous in like 3 hours because they launch at a very specific point of the launch window. So, very cool. But Frank, you did mention it was a NASA astronaut on the Soyuz, which sounds a little off given the current climate of things. But basically, it's the crew swap program between NASA and Roscosmos. It's basically where we'll fly a NASA astronaut for you, and then you'll fly a cosmonaut on a Crew Dragon for us.
Yeah.
With no money exchange. This is just free. People just like, I want to do this or I want to do that. So very cool.
Yeah.
And
I think maybe this is happening, possibly just because there's some contract going on that neither country can break.
yeah, maybe. I don't know.
I feel like that's probably the likely.
No funds are being shared though, so I don't know if it's like kind of like a contract it's obviously not in funds. Like,
Right.
if it is a contract, I wonder what it would be about. But
Yeah.
Anna Kakina, which is basically the cosmonaut that's going to be on Crew 5. See, I told you I'd bring it back up.
Ooh.
She's going to be the first cosmonaut on an American vehicle since the space shuttle launched on STS-113.
Ooh. SpaceX making steps.
They are making steps. But NASA also took a big step, or let's say a very big impact, because last Monday, on September 26th, DART, the something asteroid redirection test, was a success, and it hit Dimorphos.
Let's go.
Let's go. DART is part of the Planetary Defense Initiative. Obviously, a little spacecraft going 14,000 miles an hour and weighing around 570 kilograms, not taking into account of how much fuel is left. Hitting an asteroid that's about 5 million tons in mass is not going to do much, but basically the goal is if we hit something with enough kinetic force, can it be moved away from Earth enough ahead of time for it not to hit us?
No, that wants to correct you. Just really quick. Kinetic energy.
Sir?
Carry on.
But what is it? Dimorphos also is not going to hit Earth. It's just an asteroid that we just found information on. So do not be scared and go to sleep thinking, I will die
Yeah,
tonight.
this is a test of
Yes.
if there is a case where an actual asteroid may hit us, we have some defense happening.
Yes, sir. Data is still pending. Obviously, it's been only close to around a week, so data is still coming back. But we still have images. Obviously, we can't show, but I highly recommend search them up. Looks cool.
Yeah, very very good, very good on the part of NASA. NASA, this is NASA's space of expertise.
Yes, exploration and specifically
Unintended.
deep space exploration.
Unintended. Space of
Hey, they
expertise.
do good things for exploration.
Space intended. Or no, I said this is their space of expertise, and I meant the
Oh,
space
not
part.
air. Okay, yeah,
Yes.
space of X. Okay, good job there.
And now the pun is dead. Moment of silence for that pun.
You are whatever. Okay, let's see. There was another one. Yeah, here we go. Remember Osiris Rex?
Yes.
That returns in about a little less than a year.
Yeah.
So we get to see samples from the first asteroid soon, y'all.
That's cool. Okay, Osiris Rex was that was one of the most interesting things I've seen.
I've never felt more excited for something to touch a rock and come home than Osiris Rex, and I haven't
Yeah.
been more excited for something hitting a rock and never coming back than now.
So weird. Like, space rock. Smack.
I mean, hey, to fulfill our weights for returning for having a human hold moon rock or moon regolith, we'll just have Osiris Rex to thanks for some asteroid regolith instead. But I think that's really it on my end, unless there's anything you're thinking of, because I feel like there's a bunch of stuff I'm obviously missing that I just can't condense.
I have been not looking at the news.
Me too. I've been out of the tech news for a long time.
Very.
You're gonna have fun with the next tech episode.
Next tech episode is just gonna be me like binging like 2 weeks of Wham show, 2 weeks of Tech Linked,
Technically
and then a
four.
little bit of
Technically a month's
little bit of
worth. So
Hmm?
technically 4 weeks, like a month's worth of both.
yeah.
So have fun.
It's a lot.
We'll be talking RTX 4090 next time and how ludicrously priced that is.
Yeah. Mm. What else? What else has happened in the
What
tech
else? Let me
world?
look at Tech Week real quick. Just some quick ideas. Obviously, it is
Yes.
still
Quick
Space
little.
Week. He is not trying to steal my thing, but you know things are happening. So yes, we'll look at Tech Link. Oh my gosh, where is Tech Linked? I have not watched this in so long. Where is Tech Linked? Ah, Tech Linked.
Oh yeah, the robot, the Tesla robot.
Oh yeah, Tesla AI Day was like technically 2 days ago.
Yeah.
And what is it? Ryzen 7000.
Right. A lot of things. A lot of things.
Oh my god. Oh, we can finally say Stadia's dead. Let's go. Is Stadia officially dead now?
Stadia's
Like if I
gone.
search up Stadia, like will it actually not bring me to something?
It turns off in January.
Good. Like the new year?
Not New Year. It's like January 8th or something.
Dang it, man! I wanted to like we could have done like a New Year's like watch party and just like, hold on guys, let's just refresh, keep refreshing. Yeah, Stadia's gone. That would have been funny.
Uh,
This Stadia makes me like concerned inside.
very.
Could have done.
I think that's
Could have went so well. Could have.
could have. And it was pretty good. It's just Google and their inability
Well, you know what
to.
I think right now.
What do you
I
think?
think Space Week is wrapped up, and we should leave this for Tech Week in about a month.
Yes.
But I hope you guys enjoyed. It was a very, very long episode today for Space Week. I tried my best to condense this all down. There's obviously still more, but that is basically it for me for the Space Week side. Looking forward towards Crew 5, October 5th, coming up on Wednesday,
Yeah.
and Starlink tomorrow at 6:56. Maybe me and Siven will watch it.
Yes.
Till then, guys, have a great rest of your week. I'm Darick Pham, one of your hosts for Everyday Engineers and the host for Space Week. But next week, we'll be shifting over to Tech Week with.
Even Panda, co-host of Everyday Engineers and host of Tech Week. And this is me signing off.
And I'm Darick Pham signing off. Have a great week, everybody.
Bye.